The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
It's Monday, the 17th day of April, 2023. Welcome to Renita's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House Lindos. I'm Jamal Hartman. Welcome back, Sister Sentia.
I feel like a visitor.
Yeah. It's been a while.
The sun kissed. I'm like, well, hey, this girl looks pretty brown on this screen.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to find out about that tenant situation from this weekend. Folks, Brad Palacio will be with us in a bit to bring you the latest in her news break brought to you by People's Pharmacy. So, Sister Sanchez, it's been a while since you've graced us with your presence. What you been up to?
I know, right? You would have thought I was having vacations.
Yeah.
It was, oh God, I've been up to so much. The wedding finally happened. Last time you saw me, I was in Mexico with, surrounded by the jungle and birds chirping and yeah.
So what no.
Now, no one heard your joke because your internet broke up a bit.
Oh man.
Would you like to say that joke again? I can hear you now.
Yeah, I said, what's your last name? No, because you said the wedding finally happened. Thank you. Yeah.
No, I'm still Durham.
Okay, all right. But how was the wedding in Mexico?
It was beautiful. It was very hot, but it was beautiful. I'm so happy my friend got the wedding that she wanted. It's amazing. Not a huge, we always talk about tourism and stuff here. I'm not a huge Mexico fan, guys. I'm not saying Bermuda should follow the footprint of Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But it's good to travel and see things, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is. And you obviously had a full mommy weekend. You were out and about, and I was trying to get the video up this morning, which Phil captured Maddox Skirn. I know there were probably a lot of girls scored this weekend, and yes, I have my bias, but my nephew Maddox scored a beauty. I mean, that girl Phil shared with us in the group. I mean, speak to us. How was the weekend?
Listen, it's my first Kappa, and parents have been warning me about this Kappa situation. They're like, Kappa, it's a long day. It's a lot. I actually went to Kappa and I looked around and I was like, COVID is over. So many people, so many kids, such energy. And it was such a great feeling. I felt for our boys. So we made it through to the quarterfinals. First game yesterday. So first of all, we were there all day Saturday. So Saturday we got there 7:45 in the morning and we were there to the end of day, made it through. And then first game of the day, we went up against PHC Blacks. And then I tell you, now PHC Blacks had beat us all season. And we held them off. In the last minute and a half, there was a corner and one of the little Somerset boys made a mistake. And go.
Ooh.
I was thinking about it last night. I was like, Sancha, let it go.
And you know what? That's probably a life lesson in terms of, you know what? and it's something even Maya and I are learning out here. Mistakes will be made. It's not about the mistake; it's how you bounce back from it. But Kappa is a different animal. When I was coaching my 9-year-olds, they won it in 2009 or 8, and it's interesting what you just said. PHC Blacks have beaten you in the season. Every team in the knockout phase that we beat to win it, we didn't beat during the regular season. So it's a different animal. Like knockout football, knockout tournaments are a different animal. But I'm happy that seems like Maddox had fun, players had fun.
They
Um,
did.
yeah,
They
that
did.
that's what it's all about. Karen Simmons says, "Good morning, TDH. Happy Monday to everyone. Weekend full of activities." TK Kirkland with comedy, which I believe she won tickets on this show. Awesome show. And Cappy Classic says, "Congrats to my niece's team, Dandy Stars, for winning the under 13." So congratulations to all the parents and the children that participated, and big props to the Kappas. They're putting on this show annually. It's been going on for years, and I'm just happy that the community continues to support it. I know a lot of people say, "Oh, children should be playing for fun and development," but it's nothing like good competition. Healthy competition is good, in my opinion, regardless of
Sure.
what's that?
Just once a year, they'll be fine.
Yeah, yeah, year.
You know what? I want to shout out to the parents that are soccer parents and middle parents, because we left Kappa and went straight
Mm.
onto the track, which is why I'm so exhausted. And I mean, I just want to, Maddox, I know you're probably watching. I am so proud of you that you still, no matter what, was like, Mommy, I still want to ride. He didn't have the best day yesterday at the track,
That's what's up.
but he was committed. So Mommy's proud of you.
I, yes, that what they call them, dual athletes, or not even dual, because they're multiple, multi athletes. But folks, hey, greetings everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. A good one today, as we're going to discuss the Fairmont Southampton development. It's been a lot of talk about that. The daily play is a who said it. So famous quote, and don't forget to subscribe on our website, follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. But before we get started, we're also traveling on this, and Maya and I right now are in Las Vegas live as we speak. So it's like 4 a.m. I think here. Yeah, 4, just very early here. I obviously was in bed very early last night, but Maya was networking. She was out. Yeah.
Listen, this is another person I'm proud of. I have been did some hour this morning. I was like catching up with all the messages because I've just been MIA.
Mhm.
And to see Maya grow and blossom and watch her work the rooms
And
and every opportunity possible, girl, I am so proud of you.
she's doing it. And truth be told, I think there's a lot of lessons that we've taken away, and she can speak to hers later. But it's one of those things. We wouldn't be here if it was not for people who came before us that actually care and look out for us. And I want to share this. I've never done this, but I'm going to share a voice note that I got probably 20 minutes ago. And let me just share this. We have the capability to do it. I just never connect my phone to the board, folks. But I'm just going to share this voice note real quickly. I did get permission, so it's not like I'm just sharing people's personal messages.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I don't know what I can say to because it far exceeds what I can say. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one of those things. Once you get there, you know that you should have been here. Like, I'm pissed that I went there before because I heard about it. And why didn't I go? And after you go, it's like you should never even miss another one because of the information, just the information alone. Even if you never bought a product, the information alone, you should have never missed one. If you're serious about the industry, and it gives you everything.
So that was Juggling Jason. There, Juggling Jay really. We got a call about quarterly, and he gives me my quarterly lecture, right? But he's the one that suggested. He's been coming for years, and folks don't just jump on and do sports commentating for county game or cup match. They come to events like this to better their craft and go to different educational sessions and learn about new equipment and things of that nature. Folks, what Sandra's talking about, if you don't follow us on Instagram, just go and do it right now. Maya legit has worked the rooms. As I've gotten older, I don't think I'm grumpy, despite what you all think. I'm just not as sociable, but I do network with, people every now and then. But she has worked the room from the AP. If you are on my WhatsApp, you'll see the Associated Press, which are pretty much next to Reuters, the top international press. She was there at one of their booths. She's introduced me to some of her new friends in the industry. She has come up, and she'll speak to it later, but it's because of all of you we're here, because we know that while we have a responsibility to kind of give you the best of what exists. And I'm extremely proud of her for not acting like a drill sergeant yesterday and coming to my hotel lobby to make sure I'm up and early and ready to go, but for the dedication and commitment that she's putting into this. And I want people to remember, Sandra, Sherry, Phil, Larry, Maya, Tamara, we have full-time jobs, and to put the amount of work into this stuff, it's just amazing. So just want everyone to understand, and we're up early doing this because we owe this to you. This is the least we can do for the support that you give us. So that said, we're going to jump into it, and we'll get back to that with Maya a bit later. Some of the lessons we've learned, I'm just going to share this, and I'm going to share this not just today, but over and over and over. We live in an age where everyone's in media, right? Social media, right? And one of the key things I took away from this entire thing, and I shared it with Sherry yesterday, is so many people are focused on image over creating valuable content. Think about that. You put up a picture in a bathing suit or your shirt off, like you're looking as image, looking for a response to make you feel a certain way. When you put into creating valuable content, you give yourself an opportunity to make a living and to help others in the process. So a lot of different information that Maya, like I said, she'll share more. But next year, I guarantee you, Kappa, for one, you better not have it on the same weekend as the National Association of Broadcaster Conference, because we've got things to do, and the whole team will likely be here. As Juggling Jay just said, I didn't share that part of the message, but he's looking forward to bringing young people, a young contingent out here, people who are just getting into this space. Every last Bermudian in this space should be here to really try to bring the best of the best to all of you, because you deserve it. So enough about that. I'm sure you heard enough. Another thing that we're going to do is really involve you all as much as possible in this process. And one of the things that we want to do, and I haven't spoken to the team about this outside of Maya just now, but we understand, we know who tunes in, supports us, and watches the show. And it's only right that we have two sisters, the Butler sisters, Melissa and Angeline, and came across a post this morning from Angeline. And on behalf of everyone at TDH, just want to send sincerest condolences and much love to you on the loss of your father. He's a very well-known umpire in the Bermudian community, Mr. Randy Butler. So sincerest condolences to yourself and your mother, Miss Butler, who I know. So that said, we've got to get into the conversation. We do have a question, and it's been very hot topic, Sandra. I think people were like, oh, I hope Sandra's coming back to talk about that. You will give her the big bad wolf thing. But we have a conversation this morning that we need to have, and it pretty much is around the Fairmont Southampton. Look, at the end of the day, we've been told that construction would start this time, that time, it'll be done by this time, that time. Funding is what they're waiting on. We've had a finance minister resign because of it. Question of the morning, pretty much just going to put it out there. What are your thoughts about the Fairmont Southampton development plans? Now, if you've been living under a rock, you don't know, well, just going to quote our good friends at the Royal Gazette, use this article: environmental pushback begins against Fairmont Southampton plans. And Basically, environmental groups have been bombarded with calls from members of the public who are outraged at the redevelopment plans for the Fairmont Hotel. Residents are being urged to apply public pressure to the government with a view of getting to the project scaled back. So what is this project, you're asking? Well, the company behind the development defended its plans, claiming in order to contain footprint of new buildings, including 261 new residential and tourism units, it had opted to build up instead of building out. So if you haven't seen the renditions, you can go on the Royal Gazette and you can see them. But basically, I'm just going to say my personal opinion. I can't cuss. No, they tell me I can't do that at the conference. They look like crap. I can say crap. They look like crap. It looks like an eyesore. And I know people saying, well, some people said the new airport looks. I don't think the new airport looks. I think it's a thing of beauty. Personally, I know you may disagree, but it looks stupid. It doesn't look like it fits based on those renderings. So all of that said, there's another article, Sancha, where more than 2,500 have signed a petition calling for the scaling back of hotel development there. And then I did get a message last night. I got a message late last night, and apparently, let me just read this message to you. It's apparently there's going to be, you know what, Maya's probably going to talk about this, actually. She'll probably talk about it. But apparently there's supposed to be a march on Friday, the 28th, about the opposition to the development. So that's where we're at this morning, folks. Let us know, what are your thoughts about the Fairmont Southampton development plans? Sancha, give the people what they want, please.
Why do I always have to be this person?
I'm just saying, better you than me.
You know what? I'm between so many minds in this, right? Our government is in a position whereas we're grasping at straws, and it's like they need the funding and they're willing to do whatever they have to do in order to get that funding and get it off the ground to say, okay, we actually did this. But at the same time, we have to take into consideration that, as we keep saying, who we are, what we represent, we have to protect our culture, we have to protect our island, we have to protect all of those things, our image. And for us to build this monstrosity because they feel, or this is what they're funding, at some point we have to say, okay, guys, we have to meet in the middle. Yes, you are investing, but in order to, you're buying into a product, which is Bermuda. How do we keep this Bermudian without it being this big, okay, just come to conglomerate of a hotel, right? But the flip side of it for me is, as Bermudians, I find that no matter what we put out there, we find something wrong with it, right? We have to figure out a way, whereas when people are coming to work with us, we're flexible to a certain degree, whereas we're not turning people off and turning people away, whereas we're in the same situation as where we started. But I think in saying that, this is why I say I'm all over the place. I think in saying that, we're expecting our government to protect us. I think that's where that comes from. And we keep getting into a space where we feel like our government isn't doing what's best for us.
Yeah.
I said a whole lot just now.
You did, but it's a lot to say. And it is a challenge. And that's where I think all of our opinions hold some value and of importance. See, remember, folks, let's go back about 2 years on this show. You spoke about compromise. Why would, individuals, think of yourself. If you were billionaires, right? Or millionaires, multimillionaires, why would you spend money building a hotel in Bermuda that may cost you $1 million, right? When you can build something bigger, more profitable in, say, somewhere else, Mexico, right? Mexico, right? Bigger, more profitable. And as a jurisdiction has more opportunities to grow. Why would you do that? Right? Again, take yourself out of as a Bermudian out of it and just think if you were a global multimillionaire, billionaire, why would you do that? Well, the only way you're going to do it is if they start offering you concessions. Those concessions may be tax benefits. They may be, well, the opportunity to build something that's going to help generate that profit. It may be buildings on the side, right? It may, like, at the end of the day, remember we asked this question on this show. We did ask, what should Bermuda compromise, or like what are you be willing to give up to get the hotels and the developers we need? Now, we can answer that again today. By the sounds of it, the majority don't want to give up green space, right? They don't want to give up the space to buildings that they don't think add value to Bermuda's tourism product. I think that's where we're at. And so, you know, I'm not saying that the environmentalists are wrong. I'm not saying that the people who disagree are wrong. What I'm really trying to get to and figure out is, how do we move from here? What are your thoughts, folks? What are your thoughts on about the Fairmont Southampton development plans? Michelle White and Renee Simmons, for you, Snatch.
Michelle White, was this phase part of the original plan in 22 when it was announced that the hotel was being closed? I thought it was just a hotel renovation. Was I under a rock?
I honestly don't remember, Michelle, if this was part of the original plan.
I don't think it was.
Because I want to say no, because I think people would have been speaking up then. Put it this way here. I don't believe it was part of the original plan that was made public. Let me say that much.
I want to get to that part of it. We haven't spoken on that part of it yet, but we'll get there.
Okay.
So Renee Simmons says, well, thank God they chose to build up, because if they built out, definitely no greenery. It looks like a dinosaur graveyard. I don't know how they can think it's okay. I never saw any parking. So with that, don't we have certain laws, and maybe I should have researched this, I know we do, as to how far you can build up in Bermuda because of skylines and stuff like that. Like, so we do.
For hurricane, I think the law used to be like for hurricane, like, you know, safety codes, was it for hurricanes and stuff? Like the line was it the cathedral, folks? The highest? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, help us out on this.
It's a question. So we don't want to go higher than that. But and I mean, when I was reading about the reasons why it's the height of the buildings and stuff like that. What are we arguing against? What are we arguing against there?
Well, and let's just bring it up. Thank you to Maya, the image of it, this courtesy. But that's what it would look like, right? Again, it's an eyesore to me. But as the developer, I'm just trying to have an open mind. As the developer, yeah, I want to make my money back. I want to make my money back. Like, this is about, you know, I'm not here to donate to Bermuda. I think what we have to understand, this is business. No, I absolutely agree with those who oppose it. Don't get me wrong. But then what are you be willing to compromise on to get these hotels to Bermuda? That's all I'm asking. What are we willing to compromise on? Because I'm telling you, I'm going to say what your government won't, but I'm sure your government knows this. Bermuda ain't that attractive as a proposition, as a tourism destination. It's just not.
Yeah.
It's not. And so, you know, I completely get the concerns. Maya's in Las Vegas for the first time. One property in Las Vegas has more hotel rooms than the entire country of Bermuda.
Yeah. But I want to go to Mark Arthur. Question. Oh, sorry. Sorry. You make all the valid. That's not the one. Sorry. Yeah. You make all the valid points, Ms. Soren, but one must remember that South P is in the midst of a residential area. Having said that, we do need the hotels and beds.
Well, let's speak about that hotel beds. I mean, those are not hotel beds. Those are residential units. I know they're saying residential and tourism units, but they're residential units. And I think we've seen this before. We've seen this play out, right? We've seen developers say, "Oh, we're going to build these residential units," and then the hotels never come. We've spoken about this on this show. I think people's concerns are legit about that.
But Michael, so residential units. At this point, I'm like, for what? Do we really need more residential units? And I guess we're looking at the footprint of
But-
Tuckers.
But
They
then
have,
it's not about what we need at that point. This is about the developer making money. Like, this is not. I'm just being honest, folks.
Mhm.
That's the first thing we got to remove from our heads. This is not about what Bermuda needs or we need. This is about the developer being able to make their money. Again, they are not a charity.
But I think we come back to the point I always say, we need to have the right people in the room that's not willing to fold, on all of the things, but able to sell Bermuda and what's special about it.
But Sandra, didn't we have one of the right people in the room, but he resigned? Wasn't Curtis Dickinson in that room, but didn't he resign? But let's go to these comments now. Renee Simmons says, "Well, thank God they chose to build up, because if they built out, definitely no greenery. It looks like a dinosaur graveyard. I don't know." Oh, we read that one, didn't we?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Sean DeShield says, "Why are new additional residential units being built when there is a surplus of existing unsold units?" I'm glad you touched on that, because the question is, that people have been asking, how's it worked out for the other hotel properties that have done so in Bermuda?
But I think to that point, there are surplus that are available, but it's a whole different target of people, if that makes sense. They're targeting the people that buy at Tucker's Point and those residential units. They're not targeting the people that they built the whole Bermudiana situation for, if that makes sense.
How's it working out on Tucker's Point? I'm genuinely asking, folks. Bermuda Evolve says people are obsessed with uglifying things. Maintaining nature is very important, and nature is a big part of Bermuda's charm. Making hotels bigger is not going to solve the core issues Bermuda has. Michelle White says, yes, that was my point. It appears that we were having only info to get staff paid at the time. Concessions have definitely been made. At the time, people only spoke on tax concessions. Correct. You're absolutely correct. I remember that. Chica Reyna says, how high can they go? If there's less buildings codes, more green space, the remaining buildings would need to have more stories for the developers to make money. Yeah, it's really coming down to money. And at the end of the day, one thing, there has to be laws and regulations. But when you're trying to attract business, big business, goes back to what Sencha says all the time. She said just now, like, having the right people in the room so that we're not giving away everything. You don't want to give away. We did a class, and one of Maya's favorite classes at this conferences have been about the ethics of media and about how to, get sponsorship and make a money and do business without selling your soul, right? I think this is along those lines, how to get the best deal for Bermuda without giving up what Bermuda is. I know we need to evolve, folks. I know, but this is sticky. Folks, I understand the opposition to it. I completely understand the opposition. As my cousin used to say, it's fugly, right? It is. But in business, they are not charities. Despite how many of them like to appear like they're out here feeding the homeless or giving to this or that, they're not charities. That's all to make them look good, to act like they care. Before the next week when they lay off your family and friends, right? That's just how they operate. But they're not charities. You see all those big quarterly reports about the millions of dollars that these companies make? That's what they exist for. That's why they exist. They don't exist to give anything to you. They exist so that you can help them make millions and billions of dollars. Ebony Souza says, sidestepping our actual residential housing needs, if you ask me. Well, I get concerns about that. People saying that they're building these expensive homes for non-Bermudians, and we don't even have houses for many other Bermudians. Michelle White says, we have made more beds than flights for a long time, even with Fairmont closed. Well, I think that's a supply demand. If you had more beds, then more flights will probably say, okay, well, it makes more sense to send people here. Shamari Talbot says, I believe they have no intention to back up the hotel. They want to sweep the Airbnb market, in my opinion. Here's the thing. We've seen it. We've seen this happen, folks. And I understand the concerns. We've seen residential units be built and the hotel never come. I've spoken about that. We've seen it happen. Michael Daniel says, does all of the residential units need to go on SP properly? Tanya Cheeseman, Environment, says trees equal oxygen. Absolutely. And Michelle White says situations like these need experienced negotiators. Like it or not, experienced business people know how to deal without giving away the shop. Well, we had one in the room, Curtis Dickinson, right? But when he left, we were left with David Burt, the Premier and Finance Minister, who, again, I say this not to be disrespectful, because I know you all think it's like hate and disrespect, but it's not. Sir John Swan said last year when he was on this show, before he got into politics, he was a businessman. If you ask, before Dr. Ewart Brown was into politics, he was a doctor. Paula Cox, a successful lawyer, right? Craig Kennan, they're a businessman. What was your Premier David Burt before he got into politics? Do you trust an individual who's never been probably respected in those rooms to really replace a finance minister like Curtis Dickinson? You expect him to be on the level of a Bob Richards, like Mr. Richards, or not because of how he may speak? David Burt's no different from Bob Richards, but yet because of party, you actually like him better? Bob Richards may not have been the most personable, but I trust him with my financial environment more than I would David Burt. What qualities or qualifies David Burt outside of winning an election based on popularity, not for the individual, but for the political party? We must ask ourselves these questions. Do we trust the very people that we have given the opportunity to lead us in this space? Because I'll tell you what, I don't think it's a matter of race. Bob Richards was Black. I think it's a matter of intelligence, ability, experience, proven pedigree. And I know some of you must hate, because again, the media plays a role in how we respect people, right? Tell you what, if you don't have the right people in the rooms on your behalf, then these are the situations that you're going to end up with. Maya's probably whooping me backstage, folks. It's been time for the daily news break. But Sean DeShield says, how is development model going to employ the promised 800 jobs? That's never going to happen. Look, that reminds me of the OBA saying that they're going to get 2,000 jobs. That never they should have done that. And then Chris Famous and the rest of these PLP jokers talking about 800 jobs. Folks, if you understand anything about business, well, number one, a government should never promise jobs. Number two, if you're promising jobs for something years from now, please know that in an evolving economy, you cannot do that, because jobs are disappearing, if anything. I'm telling you, front desk people, we've spoken about on the show, they are not going to exist. Bartenders may not exist. Jobs will not be there. And then who are the jobs going to be for? You can't have clueless, headless chickens running the chicken coop. Humans do that. That's why we're having this conversation. Hope that makes a bit of sense for you all. We're going to bring Maya in for the Daily Hour news break. I will continue the conversation after that, folks. Just yes or no, as we bring Maya in. Do you agree with this developmental phase for Fairmont Southampton that was released? Yes or no? Do you agree with it? Yes or no? That's your question. Just answer us yes or no. And Michelle White to answer, bring Sir John back for a chat update. Well, that request was made to our production team in January, so the pressure's on them. Yes or no, do you agree with it? Let's bring Maya Palacio in for the Daily Hour News Break.
Good morning. Good morning.
Oh, Maya, quite the conversation this morning. How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. A little tired, but good.
A little tired. How much sleep did you get last evening?
Well, contrary to what you think, tomorrow I did not actually go out to the late night one. She put an alarm for it. I turned that alarm right off. I was like, no.
So what Maya's speaking about, folks, is there was a content creator networking event last evening. Then last night there was another event, networking event, and I thought they were going to that one. That one was a bit later, right? And she would have 2 hours.
So it was the content creator party, which was like from 6:30 to 9. And we went to that one. We had a great time. We got to connect with a lot of people. It was enjoyable, a lot enjoyable. And then we came back here, and I got to do my news for the Daily in the morning, which we have to be up by like 3:30ish. So, to get ready and set everything up. It took me literally probably 40 minutes to set this up proper, to change things around. So I was just like, you know what? I'm a bit tired. Tomorrow I took a nap. I was like, I'm not turning on. I'm not going to let this alarm wake up. I need to stay safe.
You're breaking up big time. I mean, your hotels, like my hotel last month, you all got some weak ass Wi-Fi over there. I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying, Sancho? I mean, you might better talk to them about the Wi-Fi. Am I breaking up, Sancho? Am I breaking up? Am I really big?
Jokes.
Am I there? Okay.
You're stressing Maya out. That's what you do.
Oh, sorry, Maya. So Maya, real quickly before we get into news break, look, I do send you some of the feedback nowadays, not all, obviously because I'm just lazy, but you've been here out in first time in Vegas, right? Yes. Yeah, first time in Vegas, and we're at this National Association of Broadcasting conference. They said it's one of the largest they have of 100,000 people. Speak to the people. Like, how's the time been for you?
Well, I hope I'm not lagging for the at home, but I'm having an amazing time, a good experience. And the one thing that I have learned a lot, and I think everybody knew, is that fortunately, Bermuda can't provide me more education than what I have in journalism. I've networked, I've trained under, and I've worked with almost everyone in the field of Bermuda. And though I'm grateful, so grateful for everything I was taught, I know that to get the next level higher, more opportunities than available at home. So I'm so grateful to be on this trip.
Yeah, I think that sums it up. I mean, it's a great opportunity to grow beyond the environment that you're in and that you're used to. So I'm happy that you're getting something out of it. Regarding the topic we were speaking about earlier, asking people, what are people's thoughts on Fairmont Southampton development plans? Has there been any chat in your spaces about the development? Like, what are people saying? Have you seen anything?
Personally, I have not done anything. I'm not as active on my Twitter, though, as I would like to be, but because I'm only where I will see things first. So I haven't seen anything on my Instagram, haven't quite anything on Twitter from what I've read. But I have been keeping up with the articles as far as what's been posted on the news and the Gazette. And yeah, I have a little bit to mention from that, but I think he just kind of touched basically on all the points. I think the last thing I was going to just put in my news break today about that situation is the fact that the people of Bermuda have until May 3rd to actually write in to justify any of these issues to the Department of Planning and Government to see what can come out of that. So if you do have issues, make them clear. Make you have to do that by May 3rd.
May 3rd, folks, if you've got some issues, May 3rd. We asked a question before you came on, just asking people yes or no, do they agree with the Fairmont Southampton development plan? Michelle White said no. Sam Capley said no. On A Hart says no. Tanya Cheeseman says no. No. But it's interesting, and it's one to play out. And as mentioned, looks like some action is going to be taking place this Friday. But what else you got in the news break for us?
Well, this news break, I want to actually dive deeper into April month, which is Child Abuse Prevention Month. Particularly, I want to discuss sexual abuse that a lot of young children face in Bermuda. Now, 3 years ago, I hope I'm not lagging, sorry. 3 years ago, there was a story that I had done with my audience on Media Maya, and I asked the women of Bermuda what was their first sexual encounter, what age were you, and what age was the man. And I just want to trigger one right now. I'm going to bring up an old story, actually made this conversation happen. The story with Charles Richardson, the lawyer, had this case, a 13-year-old female and a 19-year-old male. I think you may remember this case. And we talked about it before on this show. Basically, he stated, and I'm going to quote it here, is that young women actively pursue older men and they lie to them. He was led to believe she was older than she was, but it's not a defense because of her age. Mr. Richardson said maybe there should be some statute against the young women who do this. They know better. They do. At one point, will they be held accountable? And he also stated his client understood that what he did was wrong to have sex with a child and have sexual conversations with her online. So she was 13 years old and he was 19 years old. So from that discussion, I asked my audience, I said, do you agree with Charles Richardson's statement that in this specific case, a 13-year-old should be held accountable for being raped by a 19-year-old because it is statutory rape? And 12% said yes, she should be held accountable, and 88% said no. And put that into number figures, that would be 63 said yes, and 455 said no.
Wow.
Now, from that discussion and the question that I asked the women who follow me, these are their responses, some of them, all anonymous. And what you'll see here are the ages they were at the very first sexual encounter versus the age of the men. I'm gonna leave this on screen a bit so you guys can like really hone to this.
Hold on. Okay. So question was, type the age you first had sex with the age of the man and the age of the man. And if there's one in particular that stood right out to me where it said age 5 and 17, age 10, and he was age 20, right? Then you've got age 15 and age 21, right? Those two stood out, like right out to me. Folks, we see nothing wrong with this. And don't let the 18 and 28 fool you too, because just because that's the first time they had sex doesn't mean that the 28-year-old wasn't grooming that young girl prior to that. Keep in mind the way grooming works. These are some sick stats, man.
Yep, they are. There was actually a total of 138 women who responded to me. So these are just a couple that I just screenshotted, just tapped across my phone to show you guys today. I didn't pick, choose, or whatever. The first whatever number that is I see is what answered. Now I'm gonna move over to the stats together. Sorry, hold up. This here. So from 138, this is what I was able to put together. So age of the females first time having sex, you see the red would be 13 years old, the purple would be 14 years old, the gray would be 15 years old, the blue would be 16 years old, and then the white will be other ages ranging from 5 to 30. Just let that seep in. Red is 13 years old. Purple is 14 years old.
So the majority of young women had sex before the age of 16. So yeah, that's what this reads based on those stats.
It's that set, yeah, of people who answered. So yeah, so beside it is females who were having sex or statutory rape or being raped under the age of consent, which is 16 years old. So this would be under 16, which is the 15 and lower. And keep in mind, obviously, it's higher now on that side because the white on the other side was ranging from ages of 5 onward. So some of these reds are 11 or 12, are numbers that I didn't have in the prior run. So just like honestly let that seep in, everyone, because these are not, and these are just the people who answered me. 138 people who just answered myself. So the stats are much higher in reality. Moving on to the next one, it says females 14 and under with a male 70 to 90 years old. I want to share this one because I just felt like, wow. And on the side there is a description of what statutory rape is. It refers to sexual activity involving an adult and a child below the age of consent. Minors cannot legally consent to have sex with adults, so any form of sexual activity involving an adult and a minor violates the law. It continues at the end to say that other countries' jurisdictions may categorize it differently as just saying sexual assault. I believe Bermuda is saying sexual assault and sexual exploitation of a young person as well, the words that we commonly use. So just looking at the stats there for everyone to see. This was done in 2020 on my Media My page. Now I'm bringing it up obviously because of Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I'm just going to put the previous back on just so you guys see this. And it was also said recently from an OBA member, Robin Tucker. He actually talked about some stats as well recently that was to the House of Assembly. I'm just going to bring it up beside me so you guys can hear me talk about them. But he had mentioned that other relevant information was revealed during the 2022 budget debate House of Assembly. There had been an increase in referrals for some categories of sexual abuse. 124 referrals made to Department of Child and Family Services in 2020 and 191 cases referred in 2021. In addition, child-on-child sexual abuse or sexualized behavior increased significantly from 69 in 2020 to 106 in 2022, which equals 56% of the total number of sexual abuse referrals.
Well, by the way, real quickly, Robin Tucker is a woman.
Sorry. Oh, yeah. Robin Tucker, woman. Apologies.
Yeah, but no, I think this information should make all of us think. It should make all of us think about the state of sexual education in Bermuda. And I don't know what we were doing, which session I crashed that Maya was in, but I know she spoke about that too. What she focuses on, in news and media with Media Maya. But these are concerning, and I'm glad that you put in the work and get these sets and actually bring information back for people to be reminded. I don't have any sons, but what I will say is parents with sons, I just think we've got to educate them. We've got to let them know it's on them. I think Maya, you said something earlier about women playing a role, right? No, this is on young boys. We've got to educate young boys to know better and do better. So thank you for bringing this information in light of Child Abuse Month.
I'm going to mention this again. Like, Community Lawyer does articles on my site about sex education that is such a wide branch. Like, it's about identifying those red flags. It's about how to communicate with your children to start talking about these things within your own home. So she's going to have an article posted very shortly actually about Child Abuse Prevention Month and just some things under there about when to start talking and how to start talking and how to generate the conversation with your own children. So please look out for that one. It's going to be on media-my.com.
All righty. Thank you for that. What else you got for us?
Well, police are also letting people to know, be aware there are online electronics being sold for cheap, which means that they will possibly be items that have been stolen or theft. So be wary if you see that. Maybe say something, bring it to the police attention as well. But don't purchase it yourself because you would possibly be committing fraud. So don't do that if you see that.
All righty, folks. Be aware. Just be aware. Anything else, Maya, on your hand?
The only thing I have left to talk about is the unfortunate fights that happened at terminal. There was a report on that 2 high school young ladies who did end up fighting at the terminal, and the full police report on that one, apologies, says that yes, while on April 13th, police received a report of students involved in an altercation at the bar terminal in the city of Hamilton. A police spokesperson said upon arrival, officers were directed to the number 9 bus, where they were alerted 2 female middle school students who were then escorted off the bus. 2 students were informed they'd be taken to the Hamilton police station, and the parents contacted upon being told this became belligerent toward the officers and attempted to leave the scene. They were prevented from doing so by the officers, who were then confronted by other students and members of the public. 2 female students were then transported to the Hamilton police station to avoid any further escalation. They were both spoken to and subsequently released into the care of their parents. One of the students was found to be in possession of a canister containing pepper spray. The item was seized.
Wow. Wow. We've got to do better. Someone asked me, did I see something? I'm like, I don't get videos like that, but yeah.
You should be happy you didn't see it. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to see these young Black females like literally attacking each other, but then you have these boys screaming out in the background, recording it as if, encouraging the behavior. It's as parents, I mean, we can't control everything that our kids do, but we have to try. There has to be some sort. I mean, this little boy was like, it broke my heart. Watching it was just like, oh, we have to do better.
How's the weather looking, Maya?
I don't know, Sancha, how's the weather looking out there?
A little cloudy, overcast, with a light wind,
According to weather.pm, it's looking like it's going to be early clouds, but it should lead to some high sunny period later throughout the day. We have a high of 75 degrees Fahrenheit today in Bermuda.
All right. I don't know what it's like in Vegas, but Sanch, you got some days of the year for us?
I do. Today is World Hemophilia Day. For some 400 people, simple paper cuts, nicks, and scrapes can actually be dangerous or even life-threatening due to a blood disorder known as hemophilia. Nicking your finger with a knife while chopping some tomatoes for salads can just be a nuisance for most of us. We utter some choice words, then we rinse it, disinfect it, and use a Band-Aids and go on with the rest of our lives. For those people, 400,000 people affected worldwide, many of whom are not fully aware of their condition or not getting the treatment they need. Because of a relatively small percentage of world population suffers from it, many people are not aware how serious this condition can be and how much more difficult and dangerous it makes it for the lives of those who have it. So, for those that have this condition, I don't know much about it. And I feel like after this, I'm going to kind of look into it because I've never heard of it. So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Raising awareness.
Maya, we'll see you in a few. Going to take a quick break. And folks, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Just talk about Maya's news break and obviously the conversation, because Sancha, you just sent something about a protester and GenCom. So we'll come back with that after this.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Welcome to the new bulk store, Lindo's Next Level. Wake up in the morning with enough coffee to keep you running throughout the entire day. Your pet at home deserves the best. Stock up on dog food to keep your puppy happy. Need a quick, tasty lunch at home? Your chicken nuggets will be jumping right out of the freezer. What's a movie night without popcorn? You can never have too much. Lindo's Next Level. Why go anyplace else?
Mom's celebrating her 70th birthday next month. Have you noticed her age is catching up with her?
Yeah. Plus, she's having a hard time getting up and around like she's used to. I would sure hate to see her fall.
At Medical House Limited, we can help make life situations easier. We have electric beds, motorized scooters, bath stools, walkers, you name it.
Mom's been real good to us. We'll get her birthday and Christmas gifts from Medical House.
Medical House has relocated next to the Dandytown Field, number 6 Bakery Lane, Pembroke. Telephone 292-3622.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Central Durham. I'm Jamel Hartman. It's the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy. Folks, don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Just go on there. It'll pop up. Put your email in. Subscribe to us. And also follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve the community. Well, if you have Instagram and you haven't answered the question, well, many of your wishes are not going to be answered. Why? Because we had a question up there yesterday, and the question pretty much, and it's going to stay up. You all have the opportunity. And like I said, we're in Las Vegas at the National Association of Broadcasters Conference. So your replies, really, we are trying to listen to the audience. So the question was, would you attend the Daily Hour show live in person? We've had people asking us that over and over and over since we began. Oh, can you guys do live audience and so on? So we've asked the question, and to be honest, 134 people have viewed it so far, and only 31 people have responded. That's not enough to make us say we're going to spend money we don't have to do that. I'm just being honest with you. So if you appreciate the work we do, you care about the work we do, you want to engage and involve, please go on our Instagram, respond to the question. Why do something if people are not interested? Just because one or two people say it. So I'm not asking you at this point. I'm telling you to go on our Instagram, respond to the question. It's on our stories. Would you attend the Daily Hour show live in person? That's your work for today. You all have homework. That said, Sancha, I know we got a message saying that someone was done protesting say no to Gen Com. I want to ask the audience real quickly before you jump in and just explain it. But audience, do you think the protests are effective when it comes to private business? Do you think they're effective? Let us know your thoughts. Yes or no. Sandra, what are we hearing?
So apparently there is a protester at East Broadway with a sign that's saying no to Gen Com. You know what I'm happy about? That people aren't just talking. They're not just kind of putting up their message to say, okay, this is how I feel, say no. They're actually taking action. Because so many times we sit back and just say, well, we don't like it, we don't want it, and no action is being taken. So I am happy that this morning that someone is actually standing up, and I hope that the people that are against it as well support.
Yeah. I do think protests work. I'm going to be honest with you. I'll tell you why. You're an entrepreneur, Sancha. I guess I'm one too. I don't want to do business where I'm not welcomed. I don't want to do business in hostile environments. I don't want to do business where people are going to make it difficult for me or unhappy. So that said, I'm not just going to say I'm not going to do business at all. I'm just going to adapt or adjust if I see this as an opportunity for my business. So while I'm not saying people go out there and protest, what I will say is if you believe in your cause, right? Another thing from here, it's important to ensure that you're not, and this is, again, charity. You're not just doing something or hopping on a cause because it's popular. You're not just donating money to something because it's popular. You're choosing something that aligns with how you actually feel. It's a conscious decision, right? KBB, for instance, I literally hate littering. I honestly, folks, I had a girlfriend, littering just does something to me. It's the greatest form of laziness to me, right? Well, there are others, but it's one of the greatest forms of laziness to me. So I'm KBB for me is not about looking good. It's like, no, I support this because I believe in it. I believe in keeping Bermuda beautiful, and it's easy to do. So if you believe in your cause, honestly, if you think this is a cause worthy of keeping Bermuda pristine and beautiful, then you know what? Make your voice heard. And if making your voice heard means some form of protest, just make sure that it's respectful. Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you that. Do your thing. do your damn thing. Sean DeShield says, no. What was the question again? Did I believe protest? What was the question, folks? I forget. I'm sorry. It's early.
I can't even help you out.
Michelle White says, "What about one live show a quarter?" That depends on audience. Honestly, that all of this depends on audience, folks. If you're not on Instagram, follow us on Instagram. Go to our stories. That's where we ask all of our questions these days. So you want to communicate with us on Instagram? That depends on the audience. What we can't do is make silly business decisions, right? Like our government does. We don't do that over on the Daily Hour. I'm sorry about that.
I think the question was, do protests actually work?
Yeah. Okay. Sean DeShield says no. Karen Simmons says no. And then Sean DeShield says we need to take a page out of the Paris, France protesters' book. Didn't they attack the breakfast spot that their prime minister or leader goes to? They man, I'm just saying, people protest differently in different spaces and places. If you don't feel that you're getting the desired results, then maybe you need to reevaluate how you're protesting. That's all I'm going to say on that.
Yeah. I want us to, like I said, we need a hotel. We do. I need our government to find better selling points so that the people that are investing understand that they need to keep pristine what they're buying into, right? And then at the same time, we don't want to race anybody away. Whereas it's like we don't have a hotel at all, and then we're stuck here like, well, what are we gonna do?
Yeah,
it's such a tricky balance.
It is, Sancha. And again, you as a businesswoman would know that more than anything. Like, I mean, but life's about balance. That's the thing. You know, they always say life work balance, right? But life's about balance. And I think that's one of the hardest things that we as individuals try to do. Balance exercise and diet, right? Life and work. You know, it's all about balance. So I think it's really just about finding that balance that makes sense for Bermuda and Bermudians. And I'm not quite sure we have people who know how to do that. Folks, please do us a favor. Give us a thumbs up, a love, a like on whatever platform you're tuned in on. Just like it, love it, subscribe or follow. Do all of those things for us if you appreciate the content that we are bringing you on a daily basis. I want to take this time to thank Maya for putting that together. She's been working nonstop over here in Las Vegas, trying to become better, learn different things. I mean, her commitment. I called her a nerd. I said, Maya's up front of the classes. I said, and me, I sit in the back. And let me just give this example. And I wish I would have said this when Maya's on. Let me tell you why I sit in the back of classrooms, folks. It's very interesting. So when I play at football, I wanted to play in goal. I was a goalkeeper. I like to see everything in front of me. We went to the Katy Perry concert on Saturday night. Maya's going to tell you about that. They had a blast. We sat in the area we sat at the back, right? Not nosebleed, folks. I'm not that cheap. When I go to places, when I'm in space in a movie theater, I love to sit at the back. I love everything in front of me. That's just the way I operate. I love to have everything in front of me. Why? I don't know. Maybe a psychologist can tell me, but I love to have everything in front of me. So when I'm in class, I don't sit in back because I don't want to pay attention. I just love to see everything in front of me. I want to see the entire board. I want to see every person. I want to see, like, I don't want to have to turn around when someone's speaking. I just want everything in front of me. You know, I feel like more in control and in a leadership position when I'm actually in back and everyone's in front of me. But Maya is so dedicated. She's up front. She's, hands up, asking questions. I'm telling you all, like, she is so committed and dedicated. And I really hope that Bermuda appreciates what she's trying to do. Again, I'm grateful to Juggling Jay, who, again, he doesn't just commentate for Cut Match and Connie Games and play as a DJ on radio or at clubs or parties and corporate events. No, this is a brother with a degree in communications. There's a brother who continues to focus on growing despite how many years has been doing it, and he's passing that wisdom on to us to ensure that we carry this on. So I appreciate those who come before us that say, get in this space, go to these sessions, learn about the latest equipment to improve what we can do. So when we ask you on our Instagram page, would you like to see us live? There's a reason, because we are in a space now where we can make an investment to try to make that happen for you all. But it doesn't make sense making an investment if that's not what the people want. That makes sense, Sanj?
Yep. Makes total sense.
Steve Jobs had the money to make all the decisions, though. He said, well, I'm not asking people what they want. I'm going to create something and they're going to want it. So we can do that too. That's what we did with Daily Hour. Mishka Fabula says, that's my concern as well. Concrete in over a quarter of the green space should be unacceptable, but it doesn't feel like hotel developers are beating down the door to try to take over South Peak. That's my thing. That's it, Mishka. I think that's it right there. So again, it's folks, this is a conversation we need to continue to have with our family, our friends at the water cooler. We're going to take a quick break, come back, wrap it up. Again, please love, like, share. Just show us some love. Make sure you subscribe. Just follow us. It doesn't, look, what we ask you to do doesn't cost you anything but time. And the time it costs you to like, follow, subscribe, you could get that back. I know they say you can't get time back. Trust me, you can get that back. We reward you often. Stick with us. One last break. We'll come back, wrap it up. Daily Play and the Daily Inspiration brought to you by ER Fisheries and Foods.
Ordering from ER Fisheries has just gotten simpler. With just a few clicks of a button, you can place an order for next-day delivery or same-day pickup. Our ever-expanding list of offerings now include grocery pantry items, specialty meats, and bread and dairy items. We know things have been hard, and we're here to make planning for your next meal or party easy. Whether you're a vegetarian or a meat eater, we have what you're looking for. And best of all, it can be delivered to your door in 24 hours or less. Go to www.erfisheries.bm and check out our wide range of seafood, beef, lamb, pork, poultry, fruits, vegetables, and plant-based products, all available at reasonable prices. That's www.erfisheries.bm.
All right. Thanks again to every last one of you for giving us your time today and every day. Thanks again to the BAC group of companies, Medicals, Lindos, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we can have these conversations with you on a daily basis. Again, folks, if you appreciated the conversation, give us a thumbs up, a love, a like, a share. Make sure you continue these conversations with your family, friends, around the water cooler at work. It's time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia, now available at stores throughout Bermuda. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. Sancha, are you ready?
I thought we were skipping it. I was like, I thought he forgot.
No, we ain't doing that. No. Here we go. It's a Who Said It? Folks, help her out with this one. There's a big hint in it too. I don't make plans because life is too short and unpredictable, much like the weather. That is from a famous meteorologist.
I can't remember his name right now.
All right, the quote is, I don't make plans because life is too short and unpredictable, much like the weather, end quote. Al Roker.
That's who I was thinking. But I did the way I wanted to describe him. I didn't want to describe him. So yeah, that's who I was thinking.
Yeah. Al Roker it was. So Al Roker. Let's wrap it up though. Let's final thoughts on today's show, like obviously the Fairmont Southampton, but also Maya's news report.
I hope that we can go back to Maya's piece again when she has better connection. So because it was so many tidbits, and I'm one of those people that I think men need to be protected as well. I do not think it's okay for a older man to pry on a younger girl, especially when she's not even developed to understand what she wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that there are situations where these young men are led to such of the unknown and then penalized for it, you know? So I'm on both sides. But that was some very interesting information, and I think that we need to protect our girls, especially at young ages, and families need to know where their teens are and what they're doing, and we have to take responsibility so they are not being put in these situations, which and left with long-term effects.
Yeah.
As far as the GEMCOM, as I said, if this is something you truly believe in, you fight for it. But make sure it's something you believe in, and you're not just fighting to say, I want to complain about something, right? I am a huge environmentalist. I am concerned of our environment in Bermuda, and I think that we have to try to protect certain things. And as I said before, I think it's a matter of a selling point and having the right people in the room to sell. This is why we shouldn't do this, and can we meet halfway? And this is more so what I think we should do.
I just want to touch on, you just said something that made me think of something. You said, make sure it's a cause you really believe in, right? A fight you believe in. And I say this very directly. And folks, take this with you because we really celebrate the wrong things. If you're going to jump on a cause, okay, let's think of charity. If someone gives a homeless charity $10,000, right? They're not eliminating the problem or helping it. They're helping themselves. But if they create a job for a homeless person, that's helping to solve a problem. I want to put that out there because when we talk about causes and believing in it, too many people jump on causes to improve their political resumes. Remember, there were certain men and women who were out protesting against an airport. They now sit in government. Someone asked me just last week, why aren't people protesting the schools? Why aren't people protesting Fairmont Southampton? Why aren't people protesting Belka? It's almost like this law that Black people don't protest against Black people. It's almost like this unwritten law that we shouldn't protest against Black people because some people have been indoctrinated to believe that we must support our own. Well, your government doesn't support their own. Folks, you protested when Dr. Ewart Brown was the premier. Remember the Wiggers? Remember all 4 unions, major unions, were out there marching? What happened? Did the Bermudians who left for pastures new in the UK and the US, did they take the fight with them? Are there only privileged Bermudians left in Bermuda? I think we need to look in the mirror and ask ourselves, do we just like to talk to hear ourselves? Or do we really care to act for change? Tell you what, nothing's going to change if we just talk, because the way they think is, oh, they'll get mad, they'll say this, they'll say that, but they'll get over it. Maya brought something to our attention this morning, and it's something that parents, guardians, uncles, grandparents, brothers, sisters, they need to have chats with their young people. And Sandra made a great point. While I mentioned speaking to your sons, also your daughters, young people need to know. I'll be honest, sex education wasn't something I remember. It was part of a health class. But the best conversations like that will come from the people who are raising the children. We've got to do better. Those numbers don't look good for a small community like Bermuda. Sandra, you've got some daily inspiration for us?
I do. Our daily inspiration is being brought to you by ER Fisheries. And it's if you look at what you have in life, you will always have more. If you look at what you don't have in life, you will never have enough. And that's Oprah Winfrey. You know, I like Auntie Oprah's quotes.
Hey, you could do an Oprah one every day. Like she's on point. She's got it. She's got it. I just want to give a big thank you to Mark Arthur C. Phillips for your $2 contribution. We appreciate your financial support. Because of your financial support, Maya, myself, others, we can attend conferences like this to try to bring you a better experience on the daily hour. So, folks, if you want to give a financial contribution, you too can as well. So thank you, Mark. We appreciate your continuous support. And everyone else, Karen Simmons and Sheikah Reyna and Sean DeShields, everyone who financially contributes, you are honestly, we are grateful for you. Karen, I'm sorry. She said my head is reeling from Maya's newscast. Well, yeah, trust me, it's a lot to consider. And this was a very, very good show, folks. Don't forget to subscribe on our website. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Please help us grow beyond the mic as we continue to do our part to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, Medical House, Lindo's, and People's Pharmacy for ensuring that we're able to do this with you on a daily basis. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. She's Sandra Durham. I'm Jamal Hartman. My friends, please do make it a safe and a great day. We are out. Peace.